start? Um, yes. But it's really when I do email blasts. All right. It looks like we're on. Yay. Okay. Great. So hello, Leilani.
Hello.
How
Good
are you?
morning. I'm great. Thank you.
Okay. So for anyone who is joining, I'm here today with Leilani, who has a brand that's also Sweet LeiLani. That makes it very easy to remember. Thank you very much. It's like me going Power Beauty collab. I can't really forget that, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's my name, you know.
exactly.
Um, yeah, as we age, everything helps.
It sure does.
But anyway, she's got this really beautiful skincare brand, which we're going to talk about and really understand and get into her journey, which I'm very curious about, because she's got some really beautiful products. So we'll talk more about those, but I want to kind of go back to the beginning and really understand what got you into this, because it's a crazy business. It's not easy.
No, no,
It's and
it
it's
is
getting
crazy.
harder, I feel like. Every year there's a new challenge.
Absolutely. It's a different world out there to deal business in now, for sure.
So
Um,
how long have you been doing it? Let's start there.
the journey's been, I'm aging myself, but about 36 years. Not that I had the brand that whole time, but that was the start of my journey when I packed up and went to Hollywood to go to school for special effects. That's all I ever wanted to do was special
That's
effects.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
why did you want to do that? Was there something that inspired that?
no, since I was 12, that's all I ever wanted to do. And then my grandma died when I was 15. And I thought the funeral guy was going to fall off his stool when I said, I'll be doing her hair and makeup because I always had. And
Did
I
you?
went in, yeah, and I did it. And I remember coming out of there thinking,
Wow.
I love this. I would love to make loved ones look really nice. And so I kind of put that in my back pocket and off I went to LA. I worked with some really big names. It was super cool. When I came home, I had done a lot of stunt driver wigs. So I thought, I'm going to start styling some wigs for cancer survivors. And I started doing that out of a bedroom. And I realized quite quickly that they needed help with makeup. And it was like, you know, film, everybody focused on glamour. Nobody
Yeah.
focused on corrective makeup or camouflage
Right.
makeup and I thought, wow, there's got to be something out there, because now I was using my products and they weren't working. These patients
Mm,
were post-op sensitive, allergic, and so I kind of fell down a rabbit hole looking into ingredients and realized, wow, the kitload of makeup I had was just full of crap.
yeah. Yeah.
And then I said that's when I made my first two mistakes. How hard could it be to create a product and how hard could it be to take it to market? Because I thought if nobody has a product out there that's clean that these patients can use, I'm just going to create it. How hard can
Yeah,
that
of
be?
course.
Well, as we know, it's very difficult. But I mean,
Yes.
fast forward, I didn't really understand what clean beauty would mean to the everyday woman today. We were always clean, non-toxic. We became vegan and gluten-free over the years. We became very sustainable with our packaging.
Mm.
It's all recycled sugarcane tubes and biodegradable cardboard stock. So, yeah, it's been quite a journey for sure.
Wow, there's so much in there to unpack. Okay, we're going to just go back to, I want to make one comment on your 15-year-old self doing your grandmother's makeup.
Hmm.
When my father passed away in 2018, the one thing he had said, not the one thing, but a thing that he said was, just make sure I don't look orange in the casket. You know, he's like, because, at that age, he was 84 and he'd been going to funerals, and he and my mom would go, ooh, they would be horrified at how they
Hmm.
look.
Well, they didn't even look like themselves.
They didn't even, yeah, and the
No.
makeup was horrible. And so my mom went into the funeral director, who was a friend of theirs, and said, Roger really wants to look good. And they did such a bang up job. My dad would be up there looking down, happy
Oh,
because they really nailed it. And we all showed up and went, he looks good.
oh,
So he
that's
would have been
so,
really happy. But it's interesting because people don't really think about that context for makeup, but it's so interesting that, you don't want your last impression of somebody to be like, oh, they looked awful or
no,
worse than,
and
they needed to.
yeah, and they're really affected in body parts if they've been through trauma, and their hands are quite purple from the blood thinners and stuff. And um, I remember coming out of there thinking, wow, this is great. Like I was able to cover it all up. I had no background in corrective makeup at that point, but I would just was sort of creative in that field. And so when I came back from LA, I started going around to the funeral homes, but I had learned quite quickly that you had to be an embalmer. And that wasn't something I signed up
No,
for.
that's a whole different
It's
level.
a whole different level, but full circle, I ended up teaching embalmers how to make loved
Oh,
ones look
that's
natural.
brilliant. Okay, so
So yeah,
you've done your good karma. I feel like that's such like it's so niche, but so helpful in a lot of ways to do that for people. So that's amazing. But then, of course, doing it for real living people is even better in many ways because to your point, people who've gone through stuff, and I've had cancer, so I know, your
mhm,
skin changes, you get scars, you get all sorts of stuff.
yeah,
And my nails were a mess. Oh my God, my nails
I
were awful.
know. You're just
Um,
your body is just thrown into havoc. And as I was working with cancer patients, I was like, well, what about everybody else who's been burned or scarred or been through some tragic accident? And I started going around to the burn and trauma unit and cancer doctors. And for a long time, this one doctor was like, it's just makeup. They need to get on with their lives. But I had husbands hugging me, crying because their wife would go out in public again or she felt whole
right.
again, right? It wasn't about covering up. It had nothing to do with that. It was just for that person to feel whole again and feel good when they looked in the mirror. Because then, as you know, we have a bad hair day and we're like, ah. So you can imagine, you
Oh,
can firsthand.
well, yes, but it relates to my business, my hair care, because you're right. Like one of the things I wanted to solve was we all need hydration, but most of the products leave your hair flat, limp, looking greasy. And then
Yep.
you wash it again, it creates a vicious cycle because you're using sulfates and that strips your scalp and then it makes it
Mhm.
greasier. And then you're using hydrating products and then it's worse. And so I wanted to have products that would solve hydration, but do it in a way that wouldn't weigh your hair down, which is really hard to do. But what I learned, and I worked on a lot of hair brands in my advertising career, what I learned is that if you have a bad hair day, it like immediately puts you in a bad mood for the whole day.
It does. It does. So
I
can
think
you
you get
imagine?
very self-conscious,
Hmm.
right? You don't want to go out.
Hmm.
You certainly don't want to do anything social or go on a date or anything like that. You don't want to do a Zoom. You just want to kind of like, okay, it's just going to be one of those days. It's just going to be a bad day.
It
And that's
is. It's just,
awful.
it is. And then, I mean, I worked with people who literally had been set on fire and, try going through a day like that. And that's when I created the rest of the products because I had only come out with a skincare cover stick that was waterproof and sweatproof and it was natural. Men could wear it daily for facial scarring. But now I needed more products and
Yeah.
that's when I created the rest of the products and it was like, okay, well, I'm going to take this to market now. And then as we evolved, it was like I couldn't believe what these chemicals are doing to girls going through puberty. Well, boys as well, but it was affecting their cycles. It was affecting their breast tissue. Then women who are trying to get pregnant, it was affecting their reproductive systems. Lupus, any kind of autoimmune disorder and then myself going through menopause, our bodies are already wreaking havoc. And now you want to destruct all your hormones with these chemicals. So it's such a bigger story of what clean
Yeah.
beauty really means. And I try and be an advocate to try and redefine what beauty means today for the everyday woman.
I love that on so many levels. So you're right. It's so hard when you're going through whatever autoimmune issues. I mean, I have thyroid issues. I mean, because you don't necessarily link it. Well, the last thing you link it to is your beauty. You think of all this
Exactly.
other stuff. You think of like, well, I was growing up with TV dinners and plastic, and they were
Yeah.
heated, and that's leached into my system. It must, you think of all these other things. You don't
Yeah.
really think of your beauty products, but your beauty products can be the worst culprits. And I'm like you, I try to really tell people all the time, like, it's so important what you're putting in and on your body. And people often say to me, oh, but it's just shampoo, it just washes off. And it's like, no, you're scrubbing it into your scalp.
You're scrubbing it and take it a step further. Those micro bubble beads and things that are in your sparkly, glitzy makeup and
Yes.
shampoo is going down the drain. And now it's in our food chain. And now we're eating it or it's affecting our marine life. So it's just a domino effect. And we're putting on anywhere from 12 to 15, 16, 17 products a day by the time you start with hair care, body care, face care,
Oh, at least.
right?
Many of us even more. Absolutely. And then you get into the whole K beauty routine, and that's like just what, 20 products just for your face, you go, it's crazy.
I know, I know. So,
Um,
yeah, so I've dialed it back. I have a very complete, small, uncomplicated, clean brand that delivers. It does the trick, it does the job. But our tagline is better beauty for you, your health, and the planet. So,
love
um,
that.
yeah. So I'm
That's
always
very
like,
powerful. But how do you educate? Because that's also not easy. So and it's also annoying to me, but it's the reality that us small brands are the ones that have to do the heavy lifting because the big brands are the ones that have the toxic stuff in their products. So they have no
exactly.
interest in educating.
I know. And don't get me started on that because it's like they walk a fine line. You know, when they say that they're cruelty free, they might be in the lab where they're mixing the product, but that doesn't mean they're cruelty free where they're sourcing the ingredients or they're not ethical. They've got children going into the mines to source the mica.
Oh,
But people don't know that at the lab because there's no child labor at the
yeah.
lab. Like, and yeah, they just walk a fine line. And so I really love being able to be a part of a platform like yours here today so that we can talk about it and hopefully really have people tune in and understand that us little guys really know where it's at.
Yes, and we make products that are not only good for you, but they're also high performing because that's another thing that sometimes I get. People go, "Yeah, but I've tried natural products before, or they didn't really
Mhm.
work." It's like, well,
Well, no, do you know Vancouver is like North Hollywood here.
yeah,
Have a big film industry up here.
yeah, true.
And I haven't used anything else in my kit. And we are on so many productions at any given time. We're probably on about 7 to 10 movies used in the trailer because the actors are demanding better beauty products. Um, and they are high performing. They absolutely last
Exactly.
under hot lights for 10 hours, sweat-proof, waterproof. Um, we don't need these chemicals to make something work.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, so let's go back to when you started making your own products. What was the first product you made?
So I made a skincare cover stick. So what that
That's right. You
was
said
like a
that.
second skin. It was a foundation that completely covered anything. And today it covers anything from, varicose veins to acne, rosacea. It has anti-inflammatories in it to calm and soothe and take down the redness and the itchiness. Um, all our products are plant-based. They're absolutely plant-based. So I've chosen key signature extracts that you'll find throughout the entire line that do the calming and soothing. However, we have like so many other ones as well. And we're talking like witch hazel, rosehip, grapeseed, cucumber. I mean,
Oh,
it
all
goes
good
on
stuff.
and on.
Yeah.
Hyaluronic acid. Yeah.
And are you formulating yourself or do you have a partner? How does that work?
No, it's me, myself, and I, but I do have
Oh my
chemists
God.
that I
So you
work with.
know all the chemistry too. That is incredible.
Yeah,
That's really smart.
thank you. I was specialized in paramedical corrective makeup a few years later after returning back to Vancouver from Hollywood. And then after that, I did a deep dive into ingredients, and yeah, I became
Wow.
quite yeah. I
Because also
really know
staying
what
on
it does.
top of the ingredients is not easy because there's always new things. There's always things that they're
There's
finding
always
out are
yeah,
good or
but you
bad or
know,
whatever.
it is, but a lot of it's just buzz. When
Mm,
they're saying like this has whatever peptide, and it'll have like three wonderful words in front of it that sound amazing. You're lucky if you find 0.05% of that in your product,
that's a
but
good point.
they can put it on the
That's another
label.
thing for people to watch out. Yeah, just because something says it has it in it, it doesn't mean it has enough to make a difference.
No, not at all.
So,
Not at
yeah.
all. Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I find is small brands that we formulate to have such large quantities of our highly potent active ingredients. Um, and that also impacts the price, right? So like our stuff, you can't, it's not super cheap because we're packing in a lot of good stuff that is more expensive and harder to source and all that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people also don't understand that because they compare it to something that has a lot of
Exactly.
filler. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. I've
we
tried.
really don't have filler, you know, that's sort of a thing that doesn't really exist in the indie beauty world.
No, no, not at all. And I've really tried to keep my prices. Everything's under $36. Maybe, well, partly because I sort of fell into mass market. I'm in drug and grocery and health food stores in Canada. But when I was working with these survivors, they were already going through so much. They were already,
Mhm.
in debt from not working or fighting insurance companies and what have you. And my work was all volunteer, and I just couldn't then jack a foundation up to
Yeah.
$50 when, you could sell it for 35, that kind of thing. So I've really tried. It is hard though. It is because I'm not obviously making the markup that some of these bigger companies are doing, but I don't know. It's not always about the money, is it?
Well, no, and it's also just the value equation, the way I think about it. I mean, you're providing incredible value for your customers, and a lot of also what I find is our products tend to last longer. Like
Hmm.
you don't have to use as much. You
Hmm.
know, you don't need to use like I always say to people, use this much shampoo, and they're like, "What?"
Oh, I know, I know. You go
No?
to spread a foundation on like you would normally with ours, and you'll be like, oh, whoa, whoa. Like, yeah, a little dab will do you, literally, because
Yeah,
it's
a
so
little.
potent.
Right. And that also means from the consumer side is that's a really good value. So I think your products are priced incredibly well. And I mean what you're providing for people is amazing. And I'm just sitting here looking at these. These are also very interesting. I'm not going to open it, but
Yeah, that's our plant therapy. I literally developed that only about a year and a half ago, and it was
oh,
specific for menopause skin, mine.
oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you. This is
yeah.
brilliant.
Well, when you're going through menopause, your skin is dull and gray and lifeless, and sometimes you
Yeah.
just need that lift. But I wanted that glow back. I wanted my glow within so that I didn't have to cover up with makeup. And this is the moringa oil, which is the tree of life.
And are
It's
these meant to be used like one in the morning, one at night?
Yeah, so the nourish and repair is at night to repair. The
This
Hydra
one.
Boost, yep, is in the morning to boost the skin.
That's this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And that's great because also when you're going through menopause, and I went into chemical induced menopause because of my
yes,
chemo, so it was
right.
literally overnight. But I had a lot of symptoms for probably 2 to 3 years leading up to it.
Okay.
But you don't know what is what. You know what I mean? Like so much of even now, I don't know like if I'm just super tired, I don't know if is it menopause? Is it cancer?
Exactly.
Is it something else? Is it
Yeah.
like it's
And
so hard?
it could be your food. It could be, I always
Yeah.
use the analogy, when you said, oh, people say, well, it's just shampoo, it washes off. A celiac can die. People ask, well, what does it matter that the makeup has gluten? Well, it matters a lot. If you're celiac, that's getting
Mhm.
absorbed into your skin, our largest organ. And some celiacs can die. Like it's, so um, we need to pay attention. We really do. And I always try and educate the mothers too, because now the kids they're not kids, but they have the disposable income that are blowing hundreds at Sephora.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm like,
That's the whole
oh
crazy
my
thing, right?
gosh. Yeah, yeah.
I know trying to put acids and all sorts of things on the face that is retinols and things you don't need.
Yeah.
But I love that you're creating products to solve menopause skin because I think it's one of those things where as women, we just blame ourselves like, oh, it must be something I ate or I was outside. It
Yeah,
must be
stressed. It's the
irritated,
kids.
stress.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's actually your hormones and
Mhm.
you can do something about it. It's
Yeah.
not. So that's amazing. So let me ask you a very difficult question.
Okay.
Which is your favorite product?
Oh, I know. Um,
I know they're
I'm,
all your babies, but if you had to pick
yeah.
one,
Well, I would say the purely tinted moisturizer, especially for our age group, because it has everything under the sun that is in that Island Moisture Cream that you held up,
yeah,
as well as a
it's
beautiful tint. So you get like a really lovely dewy glow without looking really made up. And as we age, less is more. And we
yeah.
tend to want to do more because we're trying to cover up more, when in fact that's worse. Like we really need to scale it back. So I find that our purely tinted moisturizer is absolutely the everyday go-to.
I love that. And then what are you working on next? Are you thinking about launching any more, or are you kind of feeling like it's, you're good for now?
No, we'd love to come out with another hero product. We have a few ideas on the back burner, but we're just not there yet. It takes a long time and resources as well. It's like I've bootstrapped this company, so like I said, it's me,
Yeah,
myself, and I. So it's not like we can roll out every spring and winter, but I don't
yeah.
want to do that anyways. I want my products to be hero products and each one to deliver. So um yeah.
Well, and I think simpler is better, in my opinion. Like people don't need, like you said
Mhm.
earlier, you don't need loads and loads of choices. You just need really a small set of really highly effective, good for you products.
Yes,
And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this has been fascinating. I mean, never thought we would talk about some of the things we talked about.
Good, good, good.
So let's just end with if you have one piece of advice for somebody trying to start a clean beauty journey, what would that be?
Well, I think it's any journey is take that step. Just move forward.
Yeah,
It's all in your head, it's all jumbled. So what I like to do is write down my biggest reach. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What is the biggest dream? And then work backwards to find out who do I need to meet? What do I need to research? What do I need to get skilled at? And then just take that
Hmm.
first step,
I
you know?
love that approach. That's very smart.
But
Cool.
research, research, research. I go full circle with everything before I spend a penny. I go full circle. And yeah. So take the
Yeah,
first
I love
step
that.
and
That's
research.
yeah, very smart because a lot of people launch brands without fully understanding the complexity
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
all that. And but even like if somebody's interested in clean beauty, I try to tell people start with one product, trade one product out, see how you like it, move on to the next, move on to the next, and
Yes,
eventually you'll have your whole routine hopefully be products that you, and not just clean, but you're supporting small business, which is so important these days.
it
Um,
is.
and there's a lot of forces out there making our lives very difficult. So
Yeah,
think about
no, I
that
know.
too.
It's very true. But
Yeah.
um I challenge everybody to just make the switch. One product. The
One
next time
product,
you
exactly.
Yeah, next time you run out of your foundation, make the switch. And if you come make the switch with us, I'll give you 20% off. Just use
Ooh,
plant powered in the in your
plant
cart.
powered.
Plant
Okay,
powered,
great. I will add that in the notes
all
on
capitals.
YouTube. Yeah,
Yep.
plant powered. Perfect. And then, of course, you can find Sweet LeiLani at sweetleilani.com, right? But
Thank
then
you.
also, she's in Miami Verde Market. They
I
have three
know.
locations. They have a location in Fort Lauderdale, one in Midtown Miami, and one in South Miami. So you could check her out there. Beautiful displays of her products there. And then you can also get her at powerbeautycollab.com. And so we're so excited to have chatted with you. And
Thank you.
yeah, I think we'll do it again in a few months and pick up where we left off.
Love
But
it.
thank you and enjoy your week.
Thank you. You too.